Okay, so let's say you're interested in managing your diabetes risk.
Huh.
And you've probably heard a lot about diet.
Right.
Well, get this.
Yeah.
There's some fascinating new research on chocolate
Oh, really?
and diabetes risk.
Interesting.
So this study,
Yeah.
it was published in the British Medical Journal just this month,
Oh, wow.
and it looked at data from 3 large long-term studies:
Okay.
the nurses' health studies and the health professionals' follow-up study
Okay.
to see if there's a link between chocolate consumption and type 2 diabetes.
So 3 huge studies.
Yeah, they really went all in on this one.
That's great.
So did they just look at how much chocolate people ate overall? Or did they get more specific?
They actually dug a little deeper and looked at the types of chocolate, dark milk, and total chocolate consumption to see if there were any differences.
That's a good point. I mean, we all know chocolate is chocolate.
Right.
But there's a big difference between a dark chocolate bar
Yeah.
and a milk chocolate candy bar.
Exactly.
What did they find?
Well, what they found was pretty surprising.
Okay.
Over nearly 5 million person years of follow-up.
Wow.
They discovered that people who ate 5 or more servings of any type of chocolate per week
Okay.
were 10% less likely to develop type 2 diabetes.
Hold on.
Yeah.
They're saying that eating more chocolate could actually be linked to a lower risk of diabetes.
That's right.
That seems a little counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It does.
Isn't chocolate loaded with sugar?
That's what makes this research so fascinating.
Okay.
But the researchers point to flavanols as a possible explanation.
Okay.
Flavanols are these plant compounds that act as antioxidants,
Okay.
and they're abundant in dark chocolate.
I see.
So think of them as little warriors
Uh-huh.
fighting off cell damage, which can contribute to chronic diseases like diabetes.
So maybe those flavanols are giving chocolate a health halo?
Possibly.
But does this mean any chocolate is good?
But that's where things get even more interesting. When they zoomed in on the types of chocolate,
Okay.
they found that the protective effect was mainly driven by dark chocolate.
Ah, so my secret stash of dark chocolate is actually doing me good.
It seems that way.
Tell me more.
People who ate 5 or more servings of dark chocolate per week
Okay.
had a 21% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
Wow, 21%.
Yeah,
That's huge.
it is.
What about milk chocolate?
Hmm.
Did they find any benefit there?
Unfortunately, not really.
Oh.
They didn't find a statistically significant connection between milk chocolate intake
Okay.
and a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes.
So no magical protection from those late-night milk chocolate cravings?
It seems not.
Bummer. But why would there be such a difference between dark and milk chocolate?
Well,
I mean, chocolate is chocolate, right?
well, not quite.
Okay.
You see, milk chocolate is often much higher in sugar and lower in fiber than dark chocolate.
Oh,
And this can lead to blood sugar spikes and contribute to weight gain,
right.
which we know is a risk factor for type 2 diabetes.
Ors.
Plus, dark chocolate has a much higher concentration of those beneficial flavanols we were talking about.
So it sounds like those flavanols might be the key players here.
That's what it's looking like.
But if the benefit is linked to flavanols, wouldn't that mean other flavanol-rich foods could be helpful too?
It's possible.
Like green tea or berries?
That's a great question and something worth exploring further.
Okay.
This study focused specifically on chocolate,
Right.
but it does raise the possibility that other sources of flavanols could offer similar benefits.
Okay, so dark chocolate seems to be in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing it's not a free pass to eat as much as we want, right?
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Moderation is still key.
Makes sense.
Many commercially available chocolates, even dark ones, can be high in added sugar.
So we've got this exciting potential for dark chocolate and diabetes prevention.
Right.
But it's not as simple as just grabbing any bar off the shelf.
Definitely not.
What else did this study find?
One of the most intriguing findings is that the benefits of dark chocolate seem to be amplified by a healthy diet overall.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you're already eating a healthy diet,
Yeah.
adding dark chocolate to the mix could give you an extra boost in terms of diabetes prevention.
It appears that way.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that this suggests a dose-response relationship.
Okay.
So the more flavanol-rich dark chocolate you consume, the greater the potential benefit.
Wow.
This points towards flavanols as a key driver,
Okay.
but more research is definitely needed.
This is where it gets really personal, right?
Yeah,
It means that dark chocolate isn't a magic bullet.
right.
It's about how it fits into your overall eating pattern.
Exactly.
So did they track weight gain in this study too?
They did.
Because that's also a big risk factor for type 2 diabetes.
Yes, and their findings on weight change actually mirrored their findings on diabetes risk.
Okay. Let's unpack this a bit further.
Sure.
What exactly did they find about weight gain in different types of chocolate?
Over a 4-year period,
Okay.
they observed that an increase in milk chocolate consumption was associated with an extra 0.35 kilogram.
Okay.
That's about 3/4 of a pound
Oh,
of weight gain.
so my late night milk chocolate habit is officially on notice.
It might be time to switch things up.
Guess I'll be reaching for the dark chocolate from now on.
There you go.
But hold on, if dark chocolate is calorie rich, why wouldn't it lead to weight gain like milk chocolate? That's a great question,
Yeah.
and one that researchers are still exploring.
Okay.
However, despite its calorie content,
Okay.
increased dark chocolate consumption over the same 4-year period
Okay.
wasn't associated with any significant weight gain.
Wow, so you're telling me that dark chocolate, even though it has calories,
Mm-hmm.
didn't seem to make people gain weight?
That's what the data suggests.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it really highlights the complex relationship between food and our bodies.
It's not always as simple as calories in, calories out.
This is all very interesting, but I'm sure there are more nuances to this research.
Oh, definitely.
What else should we know about the study's findings?
Yeah, one thing they found was that the link between milk chocolate and weight gain was stronger in people who are already obese.
So, if you're already struggling with weight management, milk chocolate might be a bigger concern than if you're at a healthy weight,
Exactly, and it highlights the importance of personalized nutrition.
right?
What works for one person might not work for another.
It's true.
Understanding your individual needs and risk factors is key.
That's a good reminder for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen how dark chocolate seems to have this potential protective effect against diabetes,
Right.
and it doesn't seem to contribute to weight gain.
Right.
But what's the magic ingredient? Is it really all about the flavanols?
The researchers believe flavanols play a significant role.
Okay.
Specifically, they pointed to epicatechin,
Okay.
a type of flavanol found abundantly in dark chocolate. Higher dark chocolate consumption was linked to higher epicatechin intake.
So epicatechin is on our radar.
It is.
But could there be other things in dark chocolate that are contributing to these positive effects?
That's a great question,
Yeah.
and one that warrants further investigation.
Okay.
It's likely that multiple components in dark chocolate work together to create this protective effect.
Okay.
Food is complex.
Yes.
It's not just about individual nutrients in isolation, but about how they interact with each other and with
Right.
our unique biology.
You know, it's funny because sometimes we get so caught up in looking for that one magic bullet,
I know, right?
that one miracle food,
Yeah,
that we forget that it's really about the whole picture.
absolutely. And that's what makes this area of research so fascinating.
Yeah.
There's always more to uncover,
Right.
and each new study adds another layer to our understanding.
Speaking of uncovering more, did the researchers find anything else that might help us understand this complex relationship between chocolate and diabetes risk?
Well, remember how we talked about dark chocolate being more beneficial for people with higher quality diets?
Yeah, the team player idea.
Exactly. Well, they noticed something interesting when they looked at the data from each of the 3 cohorts individually.
Okay.
The link between total chocolate consumption and a reduced risk of diabetes wasn't statistically significant in all the groups.
So you're saying in some groups there wasn't a clear connection between eating more chocolate, even dark chocolate, and a lower diabetes risk?
Exactly.
Mm.
For example, in the nurses' health study,
Okay.
they didn't see a statistically significant link between chocolate consumption and diabetes risk, no matter what type of chocolate it was.
That's really interesting. Why do you think the results would be different across these groups?
It's a question the researchers are still trying to figure out.
Okay.
It could have to do with differences in lifestyle,
Uh-huh.
dietary habits, beyond just chocolate or even genetics.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that everyone responds to food a little differently.
You know, it really makes you think twice about those one-size-fits-all diet recommendations you see everywhere.
I agree.
Like you were saying earlier, personalized nutrition is so important.
I completely agree. It's about finding what works best for you as an individual.
Okay, so we've got some variability in how chocolate affects diabetes risk, depending on the person.
Mm-hmm.
What other interesting nuances did the researchers encounter?
They also discovered some intriguing details when they looked closer at how dark chocolate might be working its magic.
Okay.
Remember epicatechin, that powerful flavanol we discussed earlier?
Yeah, it seemed like a promising lead.
Well, when they factored epicatechin intake into their analysis,
Okay.
they found that the link between dark chocolate and a lower diabetes risk became slightly weaker.
Okay.
But it was still statistically significant.
So epicatechin might be part of the story.
Right.
But it doesn't fully explain dark chocolate's potential benefits. There must
Exactly.
be other factors at play.
It seems likely that multiple components in dark chocolate work together to create this protective effect.
Okay.
And that complexity is what makes this research so exciting.
Well, I have to say, this has been a real eye-opener.
Yeah.
It sounds like the relationship between chocolate and type 2 diabetes risk is far from simple.
Yeah, it really is.
What are your final takeaways from this deep dive?
Yeah, it really has been fascinating. I mean, who would have thought we'd be talking about chocolate as a potential tool for managing diabetes risk?
It's certainly not what we're typically taught about chocolate and health, is it?
No, not at all.
But the takeaway here seems to be that dark chocolate, particularly when it's part of a healthy lifestyle, may actually have some benefits when it comes to reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes.
So not a get-out-of-jail-free card for a poor diet,
Right.
but maybe a little reward for making healthy choices.
Exactly. It seems to work best when it's part of an overall approach to healthy living.
And it's important to remember that moderation is still key, right?
Oh, absolutely. We can't just go out and eat all the dark chocolate we want and expect to be magically protected from diabetes.
Definitely not. Like with anything else, balance is crucial.
Right.
And it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian
Yeah,
before making significant changes to your diet.
that's a great point. Personalized advice is so important.
It really is.
So this research suggests that dark chocolate may play a role in reducing diabetes risk, especially for those who are already eating a healthy diet.
Mhm.
But there's still a lot we don't know, right?
There are definitely still some unanswered questions. For example, we need more research to understand exactly how those beneficial flavonols in dark chocolate are working in the body to affect diabetes risk.
Right.
And are there other components of dark chocolate that might be contributing to these positive effects?
Yeah, what else is going on in there?
Exactly. These are all questions that researchers are continuing to explore.
It sounds like we've only just begun to scratch the surface of this fascinating topic.
I think so.
But that's what makes it so exciting, right? There's always more to learn and discover.
I couldn't agree more, and hopefully this research will lead to the development of new dietary strategies that can help people prevent type 2 diabetes and live healthier lives.
Well, I have to say this has been a truly insightful deep dive.
It's been a pleasure talking about it.
Who knew there was so much to learn about chocolate and its potential connection to diabetes risk?
It just goes to show that food is more than just fuel. It can be a powerful tool for promoting health and well-being.
That's a great takeaway. So, next time you reach for a piece of dark chocolate, you can savor it knowing that it might be doing more than just satisfying your sweet tooth.
Exactly.
It could be contributing to your long-term health as well.
And as always, enjoy it in moderation as part of a balanced and delicious diet.
Well said. Thanks for joining me on this delicious deep dive into the world of chocolate and diabetes research.
It was my pleasure.